Hey, Alex, we got some hoops, baby.
Hoops is back, dude. We're gonna pretend that was the only Syracuse game yesterday, and moving forward.
If you do watch our other episode for the football, those were two different guys. I don't know who came in and was in our spots here, but those guys sucked. They were negative. They're terrible. These are some positive guys right here.
That's it. Positive guys. This is the positive crew. We're put the ball in the basket crew.
Yeah, so put the ball in the basket. Those other negative losers that wasn't us. Okay.
You're watching Domed in Cuse, the quick hit podcast for real Orange fans. If you love Cuse sports, hit like and subscribe.
All right, guys. So that was just a scrimmage that we watched, and there wasn't a lot of flow or real game to it. So we don't have our game reviews here flow ready for this. So this is probably gonna be just a quicker episode, maybe a download on what we saw, and we're just gonna go back and forth, kind of just talk about the game, talk about the guys we saw, talk about what we're gonna see, but no real structure or rhythm to it. And we're gonna keep trotting this out and keep trying to find our rhythm here in basketball. But to start, this is just going to be back and forth. So, Tab, you want to take it away with what we saw?
Yeah, I mean, I think overall, first takeaway, nice to see the boys back out on the court, right?
Yeah.
Was happy just to see some Cuse basketball.
Orange ball go through the hoop, baby.
Exactly. Little bittersweet. I do really like those poetry warm-up T-shirts. I'm gonna maybe need to get my hands on one of those. R.I.P. Lawrence Moten, obviously again there.
That's a cool way. That's a really cool way to honor him.
I love
Really,
that.
really well done. Nice
In the
touch by,
strip, it
yeah,
looks
nice touch by Syracuse. Whoever came up with that idea and and whoever executed that around our basketball program, really awesome. I think it kind of continues the trend that we've really seen in the recent times of like our social teams, the stuff around the basketball program is really getting top tier. So that was awesome to see. I agree.
totally. Like, let's celebrate the tradition and the program and the people, right? Like, because like
That's the
this
guy we're
program,
celebrating too.
exactly. So, yeah, man, it was nice to see that. And also, just get the boys back on the court. I'm happy to jump into it. I think it looked like a scrimmage, right? Let's leave it there. It looked like a scrimmage. Obviously, Red got everybody involved last night. Everybody played. Nobody played really more than 15, 20 minutes. One to get a look at everybody, which
Ton
I
of
was
different
happy to do.
lineups.
A lot of different lineups, which is going to be a theme for this team, right? Versatility. But I thought overall there was some positive things. There was some things I certainly am going to take a closer look at that we've got to clean up. But I think overall, I was happy to see the guys back on the court, and there's certainly some positive things to take away from there.
I mean, I'll just start it off right away. The one thing that's super obvious about this team is this is maybe the most athletic, you know, team we've had in a while. I'm trying to think about when we would have been this athletic, and I'm thinking about like when we had like the Tyler Roberson, Malachi. Well, no, not Malachi. What the fuck's his name? When we beat Virginia with
You're
Tyler
talking
Lydon,
Malachi Richardson.
Malachi Richardson. Yes, Malachi Richardson. We had who was our point guard back then? Did we still have Benajay on that team? But like that's the era that I'm thinking of in terms of when our athleticism looked anything like this was, pre-COVID kind of
It's 2010.
2016. Yeah,
Yeah,
2016, 2017.
used to be loaded with the Jeremy Grants and your CJ Fairs and your Dions and your
Hmm.
we just had athletes all over the court, right? Rakeem
And this at
Christensen,
least
right?
athletically feels like that, right? So,
You've got dudes all over the place, which is nice. And the activity was strong, particularly early in the game. Like William Kyle is active, right? Like
yeah.
he's active. Like that was one thing that jumped out to me is he's certainly going to be active. He's active on the glass. He likes to play around on the offensive boards, which is nice. Like I actually thought he looked pretty good, at least in the first half, in terms of just general activity. There are some things that like our ball screen defense is still a mess right now. We got to figure out how to do that. We just like Buffalo. there's no excuse for us to let Buffalo turn the corner on us on ball screen situations time and time again. Like, we have got to do a better job icing those off and not allowing penetration. Like,
Is that communication?
It's more, I think it's coaching, to be honest. It's not like we have to figure out how we want to treat ball screens. Like, right now we're like half hedging with the big. Like, we can go into it more so in film later, but you'll notice Kyle is like half engaging the ball, the ball handler, but he's not really cutting anything off. And the guy getting over the screen isn't aggressively doing that. So we're letting guys way too easily get around these screens, and then they're in the lane, right? And that's when you start to have openings, the ball gets kicked. Like, penetration is the number one thing you don't want to allow in basketball and so many different sports. That's a thing we're going to have to clean up. But I think one thing I was encouraged is that I think our big guys, Kyle and Soiree, if they are coached properly, should be capable of being a little bit disruptive there because they are active and they're athletic and they can move. So overall, I think I was pretty interested just with the different pieces we have. I don't know if we kind of want to go maybe just down the roster.
Let's jump through a few players here. So obviously one of the guys that we're going to be keyed on, you kind of started with William Kyle, and I totally agree. Athleticism pops. We maybe need a little bit more structure to his game. We need to get him coached up, but thought overall that was good. Let's start with the most important guys, and I think number one on our list of guys that is most important is Donnie Freeman.
Yeah, I thought Donnie looked good. I mean, the numbers aren't terrific. Like, he missed a few jumpers. To me, he looked athletic. Like, I thought he looked just touch quicker, just twitchier out there. Like, he looks like he's in better shape. He was very engaged. I thought defensively, a little bit more in tune. Fell asleep a couple of times on some of weak side kickouts and things like that. But overall, I thought just seemed way more with it and engaged this year. And frankly, I thought he looked a tad more athletic, honestly. And
energy and effort for me, was an A+ in this game. I thought he looked really, like you were saying, really engaged. I also think, the defense, he had a couple of naps that he took, but for the most part, he was putting in energy. He was trying to get things. I'm thinking about the one play where he comes out on the ball handler. He kind of helps Nate George get a steal. They run down the court. They go up for an alley-oop. And that's the kind of stuff we didn't see at all last year. So again, we're not asking Donnie to be a dominant defensive force, but if he can give us that kind of effort, that kind of energy on defense, and at least not be the worst defensive player and be very mid or average defense, his offense pops. I mean, offensively, I know he missed some shots, but I don't care about any of that. He's getting good looks. He can get to the rim. He can shoot the three. He can do it all offensively. So he's going to be great if he just keeps that same energy and effort going. I'm really encouraged by what I saw from him.
I agree. I thought he was active, right? And there was even one possession too where he got switched on to a guard wing, stayed in front, played high hands, forced the guy into a tough mid-range jumper. He missed it. That was a good showing from Donnie in isolation defense. To me, that was progress. That was early progress from him. So I agree. I was encouraged by him overall. Thought he looked solid and improved from last year.
The other thing I thought he was really good at, and I thought this is actually a theme as we talk about guys, and we didn't mention it with William Cobb, but we should, rebounding. I actually thought Donnie was really, really good rebounding. Really, really good rebounding yesterday. And I think as a team, we were much better rebounding than we have been in years.
Defensively, we looked better, and we looked active. It wasn't like last year or defensively, and we were slow and plodding. So it was against bad teams, we could kind of box out and the ball would fall to us, but there was nobody going up and getting the ball at the rim, right?
Right.
That is not what you're seeing with this team. This team has guys who can go up and take the ball off the rim. Particularly when Sadiq plays, we're going to have more of that, but that's an added change.
But we crashed the boards on both sides, I thought, which was fun to see. I like that style of basketball personally. Crash the board offensively, even if we're not as successful at it to start. But crashing the boards defensively, you saw a lot of guys coming back to the glass trying to make plays. And I think that's a hallmark of a good team. It's when you compare it to football, it's on defense, you got to rally to tackle the guy. In defensive basketball, you got to rally to rebound. Everybody has to rebound. I thought we did that yesterday, and Donnie was a key piece of that.
Totally. I totally
Let's
agree.
move on to JJ. What did you see from JJ?
I thought JJ was fine, honestly. Like, to me, it felt like he was kind of letting the game flow. What was nice is it appears, right, that the ball is going to be in Nate George's hands, right? Like, JJ is playing the shooting guard position. He appears wired to score this year. Like, that is what his focus is going to be. I'm encouraged to see that. Like, he looked confident letting some jumpers fly. He still kind of has a little hitch in his jumper. I just don't know that that's ever going to go away. But, I mean, it's not. Now he's a senior. It's not going away at Syracuse. But he looked confident. I liked how he looked getting the ball to the rim. I'm encouraged by hopefully what that pairing will be with him and Nate George in the backcourt. But I don't know. There wasn't a ton to take away from JJ. I thought he looked fine.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was as far as our guys go yesterday, he was given 50% effort. He treated it like a scrimmage, which for the older guys, I have no problem with. Him and Nate George, guys who have proven they can do it. You know, it's a scrimmage versus Buffalo early in the season. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit rusty. They're going to turn the ball over a little bit more than you want. They're not as intensely engaged, and they maybe don't have the same intensity that you saw from Fennel, from Cayenne, from even Donnie, who, you know, those guys who maybe have a little bit more to prove of like, yo, I'm here. I'm gonna make something of this. Same thing with Nate Kings, I thought. So I'm not discouraged by any of that. Those guys, I think they've played in bigger games. They know what it feels like in a big game, and this wasn't one of those. So again, no problems with how JJ played. I think we're going to see much better efforts from him as we get into the season. But again, like you said, encouraged that he looked confident, right? So he looked, you know, like he wasn't playing with the most effort, but confident, and I like to see that. Let's just quickly switch on to Nate George here. What did you see from Nate George? Because I kind of just touched on it. Same kind of thing for me with him and JJ.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a terrific showing from him, but to your point, he was getting his legs under him. Right? He's playing with his teammates for the first time. Like, this is going to be the floor general, right? So he's really trying to get guys involved. Like, he didn't do a whole lot individually yesterday. Like, there was one nice play, like, where he, like, had the pull-up three in the first half. Like, that's what we're going to see a little more of from him.
And the fast break with Donnie was nice.
Exactly. Like, that's my one biggest takeaway, and the announcer said it, our pace was ridiculous yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
We played at a pace
pushing it,
not seen at Syracuse in a while. Like, there's a clear George is getting the ball, he's firing it up the court. He is getting that ball. We're going to try to score 80 points every night.
Which I think we both love, right?
It's a way more fun brand of basketball for sure. Yeah, like, I thought Nate had a couple funky turnovers there. I don't really put too much into that. Like, one of them, he just didn't see the guy throw it in the corner. The second one, I think Kyle actually tripped on a screen, and then George tried to kind of flip it to him, and when the guy trips, it looks bad because then he's not in the space, but it actually wasn't a horrible play. I do want to see him be more aggressive in the future, but again, this is a scrimmage against Buffalo where he played for 15 minutes.
And he's playing with a bunch of lineups. They're just trying to figure it out. We turned the ball over a bunch in this game, and Red talked about it in his post game, and he's like, we need to clean that up. But at the end of the day, it is a scrimmage. We are trying a bunch of different lineups. A bunch of guys are just kind of getting their feel under them. So not overly concerned about that, but that is something to watch, and hopefully we can clean up as we go. What did you see from the other Nate Kings?
So I actually really like Nate Kings a lot. It's funny because people would probably say he didn't do a ton yesterday. My takeaways are actually much different. Like, I think he's just a good basketball player. Like, he's in the right spot on defense all the time, and on offense, he's just making the right play. Right? Like, there was a couple plays where ball swung to him, and he was open for a three on the wing. Little kick pass, little just extra pass to the corner for a JJ three. I think he actually missed it, but it was the right play. It was right. The guy knows how to play ball. This is a guy. I'm gonna be calling this out all year long. You will hear me say this about Syracuse basketball. I think literally until March. We need to find ways to get this guy shots. This is going to be on the coaching staff to figure this out. He is an elite shooter. You can see it does not take long for him to get his feet set and to get this thing off. He's crafty. Teams are going to realize that he has gravity early. We need to treat him like we've treated other elite shooters in Syracuse program history, like a Trevor Cooney, an Andy Routens. Like, it needs to be an emphasis to get this kid's shots, right?
The like, off-ball screens where they're running down, pin down, boom.
And I mean this, and I don't mean to be critical. This has not been a strength of our coaching staff for
No.
a long time. And this goes back to the end of the Boeheim era too. Like, we need to figure out a way to manufacture looks for him because he's an asset.
Well, the one thing I'll say is a big piece of that, because I totally agree with you. A big piece of that, and you say like from the end of the Boeheim era to the new Red era, the shooters are better when the guys around them are better. So you can't just key on them, right? And so we saw it at the end of the Boeheim era when, Buddy was the only guy who could score. The space on the floor wasn't great, so everybody just kind of keyed on Buddy and they could just stop him. But when Buddy was on the team where he wasn't the best player earlier in his career, he was just getting way more open looks because the other guys are drawing defenders. So a big piece for Nate Kings. I totally agree with you. We need to do a better job off-ball screens, getting him looks. But the better Donnie plays, the better JJ plays, the better Nate George plays, and they draw guys to them, you're going to have to leave something. And if Nate Kings is that guy and you decide as a defense, like, we're not going to help on him, we're going to, have one-on-one and we can get him a few looks, I totally agree with you. He just looks like a professional shooter. Those feet get set, he goes up, he rises up, it looks clean. So the better the Donnies of the world play and the better the JJs of the world play, the more we're going to see from Nate Kings, in my opinion.
Totally. I totally agree. I want to make sure I'm going to be in the coaching staff here all year. Like, there needs to be, like, treat him like it should be to start games. Like, make teams feel this guy to start games, And so
we used to do that a lot with Trish.
Yeah, we did. We want to make teams feel these guys, like an Andy Rounds, Trevor, like, make sure they're paying attention to this guy from the opening tip. Because to your point, it'll be symbiotic. He will get better looks, but then once, there's going to be a play where we run him off the screen, Donnie's man's going to panic because they see him open, and then it's a wide open dunk, right? And that's sort of the stuff that layers off each other. Teams like UConn run that stuff so well. It's the off-ball action that then leads to slips, running to the basket, dunks. That's the sort of stuff that's the next step for our staff in terms of just offensive execution. So, that was kind of a.
And the other thing is, you said it too, of like, I think we're both encouraged by he's willing to make that extra pass. So like you're talking about, if that guy does slip and he's open, he's not just going to shoot it because he's a smart basketball player. He will make that extra pass. He'll find that extra guy in the corner. He'll do those things that you want to see. So again, I totally agree. We got to find ways to get him the ball, put pressure on defenses, because we have the guys now to be able to actually make a defense bend to our will for the first time in a while, and I want to see us use that.
Totally.
What did you see from some of the guys maybe off the bench? I think the guy that I want to start with, if you're okay with this, is Soare. I was really impressed yesterday. I actually thought he was really good. A couple of plays I'm thinking of. Defensively, he rotates really well. He moves his feet well. Like you were saying, I think with Kyle's, he puts his hands up. He gets on guys. He looks like an inflatable man out there a little bit, Soare. His hands are up. They're moving. It's active. I love that. And then, I'm thinking of one play on offense where he gets the screen, he gets the ball kicked to him, and he immediately sees Cayenne open for three, and he is able to move that ball. Like, that little play to me is a big indication of, like, hey, we know Suare's not going to add a ton offensively, but in those moments where you get the ball, can you get the ball and find the open guy? So you're not totally panicking, you're not turning it over. Like, we've seen a lot of guys, like, in the past, get the ball as a big man, especially that backup big man role, and just have no idea what they're doing, turn it over, throw it away. But this guy seems to be able to do a little something with it.
I mean, we've had big guys literally you were afraid to throw the ball to, literally afraid to have them touch the ball. I think Suare, he looked active to me. I agree. I thought he looked active. There was also a nice play too where Fennell drove and kind of threw ball up to him at the rim, and he tipped it in.
Yeah.
He's comfortable. I don't think he's going to do anything more on offense than dunk or finish plays, but that's fine, right? As a backup big, if he can do that effectively and he's a lob threat and you can bring him in for William Kyle when he's got foul trouble, I can get some run out of that, So,
and he doesn't panic. He doesn't panic,
and he looks like at least a rotational big for this, right? Which is encouraging. To your point, we've gone through the gauntlet of backup bigs and guys that frankly just cannot play at the power forward level, particularly in the ACC. It feels like we at least have a 1-2 rotation at the 5 spot that we are going to be able to get 30-40 minutes of every night, and we can feel okay about the contributions they're going to get us,
And that is the one thing I think about this team that's going to be scary a drawback. We're trying to be Mr. Positivity here on the podcast, but we got to be real with ourselves. We have two guys at that 5 position, and that's really it. We don't have a ton of size. We don't have a ton of guys coming in. I don't know if you're ever going to be able to play those two on the court at the same time, Suare and Kyle. And if we play bigger teams, we might be in trouble. But as we transition away from the big guys, one of the things that was encouraging to me, even though we don't have that really big size, is yesterday we saw two guys maybe pop more than I thought these two might pop. And I know it's just a scrimmage, so we're going to have to see how it develops, and we want to be patient. But Betsy and Cayenne, both guys looked like knockdown shooters. I thought Betsy was maybe our best player yesterday, right? And he looks like he can shoot the ball. He's big. And Cayenne made a couple shots. He's not, again, we're not thinking he's going to be like some, game-changing player this year. But if he looks like he can give us 5 to 10 points off the bench, and you're able to actually play him and Betsy at the 2-3 at times, then you might not be big up top, but then all of a sudden the middle of that part of your lineup is big.
Totally. I know that's what's occurred. Like to your point, we are going to probably struggle with teams with huge size, right? Like our big guys, even Kyle and Suare, we're not talking like 250-pound guys either, right? Like these are 6'8", 6'9", lean, athletic guys. Like teams that have some bodies, we're gonna feel that impact. I couldn't agree more with my takeaways on Betsy specifically and Cayenne as well. Like Betsy looked to me like a sophomore version of Chris Joseph out there.
I love that.
Chris did from his freshman sophomore, he became like a
AJ.
really good bench player. He kind of looks like him out there. Like he wears the short T-shirt. Really smooth shooter. Though. Like honestly, I'd heard he could shoot it well. I watched the tape. That is a very smooth release that kid has. It looks easy, right? And it's the same every time. Like that's what a good shooter looks like, right? Particularly when they're a big guy. Like the wings, it gets wonky, right? You can tell when a lot of it's release point stuff, right? Like their release point's just not consistent. Betsy's very consistent on his release point. It looks smooth. He doesn't rush. That was incredibly encouraging to me yesterday. Like he is a very confident shooter of the basketball. And even like he even had a dribble pull up, a pump fake, one dribble like from mid range too. A lot to be encouraged from there as a guy who's was profiling as our 8th, 9th guy. Like he looks like a guy who's going to be in the rotation day one. And then Cayenne, I was really pleasantly surprised with him yesterday. Physically, he looks bigger than I thought.
He's big.
Mm-hmm. Like a little thicker.
He's added some muscle. He's clearly added some muscle.
He looked like thicker than I anticipated him looking. Yeah, there was some freshman stuff in there, right? Like he had a couple out of control turnovers as expected.
He's
right?
going to have those. He's going to have
every
those.
Freshman in the country is going to have. I think every freshman that played yesterday for Syracuse had a couple. What was encouraging to me is he looked the part, and he is a very confident shooter of the basketball. Like this kid is not scared to put it up, and the shot looks
good. It looks smooth.
I thought he was going to hit the 30-footer in the first half. Honestly, like he back rimmed it, but he is certainly not scared, which is great, and he doesn't appear to like. There's a lot of pressure on him. It doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it.
Like,
no, definitely doesn't.
And
like
that's the thing. Fun out there, dude.
He did, and I think that this team looks like it's having fun. More fun. This team looks like it's having more fun than I've seen from a Syracuse team in a long time. And that joy kind of radiates through the screen. It makes you feel good. And again, like when we get to the next guy, we're gonna talk about this. But with both of those guys, one of the things that's encouraging to me is if this is how they look in scrimmage number 1. I'm excited to see what these guys look by February like, because if they can continue to develop, Cayenne, again, he made some shots. Again, like you said, he had those freshman moments. Not everything's perfect with him. I don't know, like defensively, if you're going to be able to trust him for 20 minutes in a game this season at any point. But
defense is going to get there,
But 10 minutes? Can you give me 10 minutes? Can you give me a flashpoint? We talked about this on our ride home from Syracuse the other day, and it's going to be a talking point that I think we want to continue with Cayenne, because this is one of the most important things with the coaching at Syracuse here is Cayenne is kind of an ace up your sleeve, especially at home with how the crowd will react. 100%. Because he is Melo's son, and obviously Melo is a god amongst our fan base, and we love Melo, and we'll always ride for Melo. And because Cayenne seems like such a great kid and like a chip off the old block in a lot of ways, right? You're going to get a crowd pop every time he gets into the game. And that is going to be a card that the coaches are going to have to use well. Because if you start to get a little bit of a run and you want to extend that run, just throw Cayenne in there. Let him get a couple shots up. If he hits 2 threes when he comes into the game and you go from up 6 to up 10 all of a sudden on a team, that crowd is going to go fucking nuts in the dome. And if you're playing a team that can't handle that, you're going to be able to turn that 10 into 20. And it's a little bit less about Cayenne, and it's about how you can play the crowd with him.
Totally. Like he's literally like it's more than the player on the court with him. Like he's basically your crowd microwave, right? Like he is going to turn up the crowd immediately. You could see it watching a scrimmage in Buffalo, right?
People
like,
got excited.
That's where it carries to. Like I couldn't agree with you more. Like whether we're up or it's like right if there's a game at home where we're struggling with some energy and we just need to put him in. Let's run a play to get him a shot. And if it goes in, the crowd is going to erupt. And like you could feel. I mean, even when he just like had the tie up for the jump ball there.
Like, you
could feel the crowd just go, "Fuck yeah, fuck yeah!" You know, like it. Like that's what we want out of this kid. Like this year, let's bring the energy. He seemed like honestly, his whole vibe is he looks like he's just happy to be there. He's happy to be there. He's happy to be part of the team. He wants to be part of this legacy. Let's make sure that we handle the situation properly because my initial takeaway from yesterday was this is hopefully is going to be really fun.
It's fun. It's fun.
That was how
I mean, anytime he goes in the game and makes a couple shots, the dome's going to light up. The dome's going to light up. Fans are going to go fucking nuts. You're going to be an intimidating place to play if you can kind of get that energy, and everybody's going to feed off that. Everybody's going to feed off that. But again, Betsy I thought was really good. I'm interested to see if Betsy can have a few more of those off the dribble pull-up moves, because if he could add that to his game, he goes from like an 8th man to a fringe starter for us, I think. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. I mean, like he can make the coaching staff have some tough decisions quickly, you know.
Which is good because, you know, you're going to need guys in certain nights. JJ's not hitting shots. You need somebody to get extra minutes, you know, that kind of stuff. And then let's finally end it here. Well, we're not going to end it, but we're going to finally talk about Luke Fennell. So I was reading Syracuse.com after the game, and he was kind of getting killed in that article. And I didn't think that was fair at all. They said, oh, he doesn't look ready to play. Oh, he doesn't look this. He looked just like any other freshman. Same thing with Cayenne. Yeah, he had a couple of turnovers here and there. Yeah, it didn't look perfect. Yeah, the defense is a work in progress. But he's fine. He's got the ball in his hands. I think he's fine to go out there for, you know, like I said with Cayenne, very similar to Cayenne. I think him and Fennell to me are very similar. You're going to get 10 minutes out of them. Can you put them in positions as a coaching staff where they're going to be able to weather 10, 15 minutes? You don't really want them on the floor too much at the same time, right? You want to maybe make sure Fennell's out there with JJ, and you want to make sure Cayenne's out there with Nate George as much as possible, and you can kind of pair those guys together. And can you get 10 minutes out of those guys? I totally think you can. And I didn't see anything from Fennell that I didn't expect. He looked like a freshman to me.
That's how I felt. The backup point guard situation is going to be one to watch. Obviously, they went to him first, I think, in that role yesterday, which I think is interesting. It's what we had seen, I think, and heard kind of coming out of practice and training camp early this year. He was fine. I didn't think it was great one way or the other or bad one way or the other. I thought he had a couple moments that looked okay. I will say that's just a position that I think is one that's still very much up in the air, is that backup.
Yeah, it's hard to do as a freshman too, right?
Exactly. So. Like it's hard to do as a freshman. I think they're gonna. One thing I actually thought was a little interesting. Cayenne looked better handling the ball than I thought he was going to.
They did play him a little bit in that backup point guard role.
And like maybe you can kind of do like a shared thing with him, Fennell, and JJ, and just be like, look, when George isn't in the game, it's just going to be a shared effort between the three of you guys, and we're not going to really go with anybody here who's just going to like have the ball like Nate does when he's in the game, but we're just going to have share handling duties. To me, that's kind of where I think it ends up landing, but that's fine. Like
if you do that though, I don't hate that, but if you do that, I do think when you get to the front court, I think that's where you maybe want to slow down the pace and you want to run everything through Donnie. You know, because if you're not going to have that point guard on the floor, those are the minutes where you're going to just have to toss it into Donnie, let the shooters kind of run around outside of him, and see if you can't get him some buckets in those situations.
I agree. It's like you lean on Donnie. You make sure that there's other experience on the court. Like I think Nate Kings is a guy who probably should be playing with those guys as well. It's like he's older. He's a stabilizer. He's going to make sure the ball gets to the right spot. Like
I don't mind using those as the small minutes, like where because we're not going to be big, so we have to find ways to attack a weakness, right? So a weakness is we're not big. Let's go small.
Go small there for a few minutes, and that's how we play. Like,
see if you can't run a team off the court.
And that's what I think. Like, I had fun at least just watching. Is like, all right, there's a lot of different kinds of dudes out here.
Versatility.
Right? Like, we're going to be able to play some different ways. I think there's going to be a lot of different heroes on different nights for the Syracuse team is kind of my takeaway, right? Like, I mean, the last 4 or 5 years we've known there's 3 guys out there, right, who probably have a chance to really impact the game for us, and it's like...
And if they don't, it's over, yeah.
It's over, right? Like, Justin Taylor wasn't going to show up and score 25 one night and bail us out of something, right? Like,
Nate Kings might.
Right, exactly. Tyler Betsy might,
Yeah.
Like, Ryan may be able to give us 14 off the bench one night, and it may be an impactful 14. Like
that 14 might feel like 20.
Exactly. Like watching that yesterday, that was kind of how that made me feel. I was like, good Lord, I'm looking around and I think, look, we may not have a top end star on this roster, but we've got a lot of different dudes who can contribute at the power 4 in the ACC level. It's a lot. The coaching staff needs to do a good job this year because you've got to be able to play these cards right. But there's definitely a hand to be played with this unit.
But I think you should be able to pretty much get 65 points out of Donnie, JJ, and the 2 Nates. Any given night, those 4 should be able to get you to 65. And then to get to 80 from 65 is 15 more. Can Cayenne give you 10 on a certain night? Can Sadiq give you 10 on a certain night? Can Betsy give you 12? Like, if you can get those 4 that I just mentioned,
Kyle's going to give you something. Like, he's going to give you a fucking 4 to 10 every night of just being a garbage man, Like,
right. So if you can get the 65 from those 4, those 4 kind of key pieces that we have, everything else around that looks really good, right?
Yeah.
So everything else around that looks like you might be getting some contributions from different places, and that's super exciting to see. The last thing I think to touch on before we end this is our boy Sadiq just didn't play. So excited to see him play. It does sound like it's not a big deal injury. Kind of the thing of, hey, if this was a regular season game against an ACC opponent in the middle of the season, he'd play. But it's a scrimmage against Buffalo, so why bother?
I hope so.
That's what it sounded like from Red's press conference after the game, personally.
That's what it did. I co-sign that. It seemed like it was like he's just a little dinged up. We're not gonna put him out here in a scrimmage. I really hope so, because we just don't need another one of these ambiguous injuries early in the year for Syracuse basketball.
But, I mean, pretty encouraging without him on the floor, our best defender, and maybe our biggest problem was not being as locked in defensively as possible. And if we're getting our best defender back, to add to what we saw yesterday, I mean, overall, I am super excited. I'm super encouraged with what I saw. I thought it was a great game.
What was exciting to me is I thought our offense looked strong. I thought our shot quality was pretty strong all night long. I still think defense has some improvements, and I think it's honestly more coaching than it is personnel right now. Like, I think, and again, it's a scrimmage, so hopefully Red takes this. I haven't necessarily seen that in this era to date, but the ball screen thing is my biggest thing. We have to lock down penetration. We should not have allowed Buffalo to just continuously get in the paint against us. I'm going to be on this all year long. We have got to control the ball on the perimeter, and particularly in ball screen situations, because teams are just going to spam them all game long if we cannot figure out how to keep teams out of the paint.
Agreed, but rebounding was good, so, there's a lot to be positive about, I think, and there's the things that we have to work on are fixable.
Totally.